السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
السلام ورحمة الله.
أهلا وسهلا.
Just want to check whether
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone.
السلام عليكم.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Those who are available, if you will be able to turn on the camera, it's better. And if it is not possible, then it's okay. When we take the picture, at that time, you need to open the camera. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the energy management system. When we talk about energy, you know that the energy is one of the most discussed topics nowadays, because energy is focusing on the sustainability. We all know that the sources of energy, the natural sources of energy, are very limited. So when we have a limited source, we need to preserve it, we need to conserve it in order to use for a long time. Otherwise, with the passage of time, this limited source is going to be reduced. Every day when we are using the energies in different form, let's say in the form of fuel, benzene, in the form of LPG gas, in the form of water, so in the form of air. So these all things are not in very rich quantity. They are in a limited quantity. And to keep them available for our next generations, we need to make them, we need to utilize them in such a way that it should not have much effect on our current activities, and it will not be affecting our future activities. Nobody is saying that you should not use the energy. We need to use the energy. We are living in a modern industrialization era. So we need to develop the industry. We need to have the transportation. We need to have the logistics availability. But again, there are certain rules, there are certain requirements which are going to help us in order to maintain our energy, in order to improve our energy efficiency. Whenever we talk about energy, you have listened a lot of time that we need to conserve the energy. Nobody says that stop your production, stop your work, do not operate the car. They say try to go for the alternatives. They say try to go for the better replacement. They say if you are using the high octane benzene, try to go for the electric cars. If the things can be done through LPG, no need to use the fuel oil or the furnace oil, which produce more pollution. So there are alternatives available, and with the passage of time, there are many alternatives are coming in the form of energy. Recently, we have seen that even in Saudi Arabia, here in nearby Jeddah, there is a King Abdullah Economic City, Kaik. There is a big plant of Lucid Motors is now under construction, which is going to produce the electrical car. Similarly, in Dammam, we are looking that there is a Hyundai cars big plant is going to be established. So what is the purpose of these things? The purpose of these things that the government, they understand the importance of the energy alternatives. The government understand that what are the trends which are going to be coming in throughout the world. So that's why they are focusing also on the alternative energy. In 2026, they have made the plan that all the industrial areas, unless it is very specific and very necessary, they are going to stop the liquid fuel. So by stopping the liquid fuel, they are only going to provide them gases. So they are pushing the organizations to go for the energy. Similarly, there is a committee called SEEK, which work under the Ministry of Energy. The SEEC committee is the Saudi Arabian Energy Efficiency Center. This SEEC, they are enforcing the companies to measure your energy performance, to improve your energy performance, to go for the alternatives. And they are insisting the companies that you should be reporting all the data through their website. They have a very detailed portal available. Through this portal, they want to monitor these things, that how our energy performance is going on. This is not going to be happen with any other standard, as far as my knowledge is concerned, that on the government basis. This is not going to be happen with the quality. This is not going to be happen with the safety or environment, but for the energy. So which means that the government is really serious about this matter, and they really want to improve their energy performance, not only in terms of the Vision 2030, but to continue it to go into the international ranking of that the Saudi Arabia, or we as a country, we are a country who is focusing on the energy, and whatever solutions or whatever consumptions we are going to use, they are going to be regenerated, they are going to be reproduced. So that's why we say that our future in NEOM, there will be no greenhouse gases. There will be zero, greenhouse gases. Why? Because all the type of energies, they are going to be reused in different ways. So that's why the energy pressure as a global responsibility, because when we say that we as Al Fanar Management Company, we are a responsible company, we are having a group who is focusing on the international requirements. So we as a responsible company, we need to follow the requirements of energy. And similarly, now not only the responsibility, but it also become your legal requirement. It also become your legal requirement that you need to focus on the energy, that you need to monitor the energy, you need to have the baseline available for the energy, and you need to improve the energy in order to be into the ranking. And government is giving the initiatives, the government is giving the good benefits to those companies who are adopting this standard or who are going to monitor. They already set up this system in last 2 years for the heavy industries like oil and gas, like petrochemicals. They have been certified on ISO 50000, which is the energy management system. Now they are working on to the mid-level of companies, those who are using especially the liquid fuels, for example, furnace oil, for example, benzene, for example, petrol. Like we have some recent client, like one of the client is your direct competitor, like Bahra Electric. We are working on them. Next week, inshallah, they will go for the certification. So similarly, Saudi Glass Company, Yansab, Yasraf, they are all working on the energy management system. Now you will find out that these companies are heavy industries. So we are talking about not to stop the work. We are talking about to continue your work, but in a responsible manner, to continue your work tips which are going to improve our energy performance. So that is the major purpose of energy management system, to improve our energy performance. The standard is the ISO, International Organization for Standardization. They have given the series to energy is the 50,000. So yesterday you discussed about 9,000 for the quality, 45,000 for the health and safety, 14,000 for the environment. So now this 50,000 series is for the energy. So any standard which starts with 50, in your mind, it should click that it will be somehow following the requirement of energy, right? When we say 50,001, which means the 1 means the requirement, 2 means the guideline. So there is another document which is 50,002. So this means that it is the guideline. The requirement means it is mandatory to follow. The requirement means that it is a auditable standard. The requirement means that it is a certifiable standard. So 50,001 is the standard from ISO, and you are required to comply with this standard in order to achieve the certification. Then we have 2018. 2018 means that the latest version which we are using now as of today is the 2018 publishing version. Before there were some old versions also, and after every 5, 7 years, 8 years, they are going to review, because it's not the small thing. ISO, when they are going to bring the new version, they have more than 150 countries as a member. So they have to get the review, they have to do the voting on the standards, and then they are going to publish the update version of the standard. So ISO 50001, EN stands for Energy Management System, because E stands for environment. So when you have ISO 14,000, you will be writing EMS, Environmental Management System. But when you have 50,000, you will be writing ENMS, Energy Management System, which is the 50,001 standard, and the version which we are going to use is 2018. Clear? Any question, guys?
Very clear, Mr. Anas. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
The objective of the ENMS, Energy Management System, is to have the policy for the efficient use of energy, to fix your targets in order to improve your energy performance, gather the data. Energy Management System is all about the monitoring and the gathering of data. The more strong monitoring you have, the more accurate data you have, the more improvement you can make. Most of the time, we are unable to make the improvement in terms of energy efficiency because we don't have the accurate data availability. So when we have the data availability, not only from the Saudi Kaharba, but also from our internal monitoring system, then we can compare that, okay, after taking these initiatives, where our energy units are going, where are we standing at this stage. So this is going to give us the real improvement in our system. The data availability is very important. Accurate data, I used to say, not only data, but accuracy of data is also very important. Then it is going to give us we are going to review the policy, and the policy is the top management document. So the ultimate goal, the ultimate goal or the outcome of the energy management system is the continually improved system, So if we have adopted the energy management system and we don't see the improvement in our system, which means that there is some problem with us. We are not following the requirement of a standard. We are not following the requirement of a standard as it should be, because this standard is basically it has been filtered many times by different industrial experts. This standard has been developed by the sector experts, which are coming from different backgrounds, not only the factories, but also from the services companies, from the manufacturing companies, from the logistics companies. And then when they are going to combine together a committee, they are going to work on any management system which is going to be developed. So sometimes when I'm doing the audits or the consultancy of the standards, so the management says that, Anas, we don't see any improvement in our system since we are also certified for last more than 3 years or 5 years. So I used to say that you don't see any improvement because you don't want to take the improvement. If you want to take the improvement, then you need to adopt the standard as it should be, not only for the sake of paper. Yesterday, when I was in your office, so we met your executive manager, Mr. Albazi, and he gave us the same commitment that we don't want the certificate for the sake of paper. Your operations manager, they give us this confidence that our intention is not the certification. Our intention is to bring the improvement. These all management systems are basically a very good source of improvement in your system. And your other group companies, which are basically factories, they are already certified on these standards for a long time. So the sooner the better you are going to adopt these standards, the sooner you are going to improve your performance. Not only energy, but the overall business performance is going to be enhanced. There are a number of benefits for this management system. Some of the benefits I told you already. It is going to increase our staff commitment. It is going to have a good reputation in the market. Still, this standard is not common, like 9, 14, 45 is common standard throughout the kingdom. Energy management system is not the common. So those companies who are doing it, there are very selective companies, those who adopt, because it is not easy to follow. So you are going to be one of them who are adopting this standard in the field of services company. The manufacturing companies, the product-based companies, there are many companies who already adopted this standard and they are working on this. But in terms of services company like you are among the pioneers who are going to adopt this system. And the outcome of this standard is not only your energy performance, but also for your clients to whom you are going to give the facility management services, you are also going to bring the improvement in their system. For example, the NIOM has given you a project for the facility management. So they have set some KPIs that you need to have this, you need to have meet this requirement, this requirement, this requirement. And when you say that we are also going to work in giving you the energy solutions, in bringing the improvement in your existing energy efficiency, so this is going to be a value addition for them. And this is going to give them the direct profitability in the project cost. So this standard, the outcome of this standard, sometime you will get very fast. But this standard, on the other hand, this standard is not the cheaper. The more wider scope you have, which means that the more metering you need to have, which means that the more monitoring and the monitoring devices you need to install. And then, as I told you, that only monitoring is not enough. The accuracy of data is also very important in the energy management system. So it is going to improve our compliance record. Now, as I told you, that the SEEC committee, the Saudi Energy Efficiency Center, their committee is following up with the companies that you need to adopt this, you need to adopt this. So similarly, in our case, for example, NIOM is following up with us. NIOM is, in future, you will find out that the NIOM is going to ask you, okay, now make the LEED certification for our facility where you are going to give the services. So there are a number of requirements. Day by day, these requirements are coming. And we as a services organization, we have to follow these requirements in order to survive. Otherwise, there are a lot of competitors who are available in the market and they are older than us. They are giving the more, you can say, the broader service as compared to us. So it is going to increase the profitability. The ultimate goal in terms of financial, okay, sustainability, social responsibility, future generations, it's one place. But as a business, so the businessmen, they always want to hear about the financial. So this energy management system is also going to give you the improvement in your business, which means that it is going to improve the profitability. Whatever the energy consumption you are going to have before, so it is going to be reduced and you will be adopting the new initiatives in order to improve the energy efficiency, which is going to bring the improvement in the profitability of the organization. So there are many benefits, and if we spend 1 hour only to discuss the benefits of energy management system, they are not going to be completed. So if the bottleneck is that your organization, your management, they understand the importance of this standard, and that's why they are adopting this standard. It's not only going to give you a major edge in terms of your own energy performance, but also in terms of the vendor qualification when you are submitting the tenders for the projects. It is also going to help you a lot as a marketing tool that we are energy certified and we have the system available, and wherever we are going to give the services, we can improve your energy performance, we can improve your energy efficiency. So these two are the major benefits of the system. Now, if you see the success stories of few companies, for example, ADNOC in Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, they are energy certified across 8 ADNOC companies, and it gave them 150 million profit cost saving in over the 3 years. 3M, the company 3M, we used to have the PPEs, mask from 3M, very good quality mask from 3M. Everyone knows 3M shoes, 3M uniform, 3M PPEs. So they have 30 facilities which are certified on energy management system, and they are having $13.5 million, not the real. They are going to have the cost saving of $13.5 million from 2016 to 2018. Similarly, Schneider, you can say one of the competitor for the Alfanar, Schneider, they have the 20 facilities which are certified on energy, which gave them the benefit of cost saving of $1.8 million annually. So there is a big list available. Hilton hotels. Now, since you are also going to provide the services to facility services to one of the hotels or one of the district, so you can see that how the Hilton has improved. They have more than 100 certified energy facilities. So these facilities from them, they are saving around $783 million cost saving between the 3 years, between the 8 years. So these are the real life example. And these are all the companies which are well known. We know them. Most of the companies you have heard their name. They are also operating in Saudi Arabia, also operating in the Middle East. So how they have improved their performance by adopting the ISO, and this data it came from the ISO itself directly. So I mean, this is one of the accurate data, because when you are adopting the energy monitoring systems, you need to report them. And these reports can be seen globally. And then in your annual reports of your audit reports or the company reports annual, you are going to present these things, that how we have improved our performance through quality, through safety, through energy, through facility services. So these are all going to be the part of the improvement. So now you can see that when I say that it is going to improve your performance, so ultimately it is going to improve your profitability. But not from today, not from tomorrow. It needs some time, right? When you are going to adopt it, you are going to apply it. So after some time, you will start getting the result of these things. Yes, guys, any question? Once you
No,
don't
no,
have,
thank you. It's clear.
once you don't have any question, there are two possibilities. One possibility that you are understanding everything, and the second possibility that you are not understanding anything. So what should I consider?
You should consider the first one because you are well يعني performed, yeah, Mr. Anas.
Okay.
You did not give us a chance even to have a question. MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
MashaAllah, in details, yani you
Yeah, actually, we also have
explain.
time, so I'm trying to give you see, with these 1.5 hour or 1 hour 20 minute session, we are not going to become the expert, but it's just a flavor which I'm trying to give you, the importance of this standard. Definitely when it comes to clauses, then you have to follow the clauses. We will be developing, supporting the procedures with you. But in general, you as a management, all of you, mashallah, when you are working on the energy management system, we should be able to have a clear idea that why these standards, when you start adopting the 6 standards, why we are adopting these 6 standards, and why there is the need for these standards. Okay.
For now, so far so good. It's clear. If we have any question, we will ask you. Don't worry.
Sure. So the energy management system, wherever you will find the word, as I told you, ENMS, which means energy management system. The energy management system, they are generic in nature. Any of the ISO standard which you are adopting, all of the 6 standards, they are generic in nature, which means that they can be adopted by an industry, they can be adopted by a manufacturing company, they can be adopted by the services company, even they can be adopted by Bakala, they can be adopted by Aramco also. So the standard does not limit the users, that who are going to be the users of this standard. So these standards are generic in nature. Whatever business you have, you can adopt these standards and get the benefit. These standards are going to be provide us the proactive approach, which means that focus on the risk. We need to focus, identify the risk. We need to control the risk before it becomes the accident, before it is going to be lapse. So proactive approach, which means that we need to have a strong planning while we are adopting these standards. These standards are voluntary. Nobody is forcing you. When I say nobody is forcing you, but in your sector, yes, nobody is forcing you. But in the manufacturing company, as I told you, that now Saudi energy management, energy ministry is enforcing the organization. to go and adopt this standard of ISO 50000. So it is going to improve our process. It is going to improve our performance. It's a system based, not for the individual. It is for the company. It is for the organization. Your organization is going to be certified. You cannot say that my quality department is going to be certified. My admin department is going to be certified. No, these are the system based, which means that number of processes are linked together who are going to be certified. So the organization is going to be certified. Assessable, which means the auditable. These standards are auditable. You can do the audit of these standards. The third party will be doing the audit of this standard. And once you are going to meet the requirement of the standard, they are going to issue Shahada that you are, as a third party, we announce that you are going to be certified on this standard. So this is the major requirement which is going to be fulfilled if in fact when we are going to adopt the ISO 50001 standard. Then the compatibility. These standards are very common with other standards. They have a good compatibility, which means that they can integrate with the other standards. When I say integrate, which means that it is easier to combine some of the requirement of energy management system with ISO 14000, 45000, 9000. In your case, you have 55,000, you have facility management 41,000. So, and even in our discussion with your management yesterday, we discussed that some of the procedures or some of the activities which can be integrated easily, we are going to integrate them. Rather than producing the 6 documents, we will be producing 1 document, and it will be covering the requirement of all 6 standards. And at the end, when you will have a third party who will come and perform your audit, they will be evaluating the standard independently. Okay, and this will be easier for them if they are going to see the integrated management system. But you will receive the certificates, 6 certificates, not 1 certificate. This is the good thing, that each standard is working as an independent standard, but we have just combined it. Otherwise, each standard requirement is fulfilled as independent. And once you will receive the Shahada, it is not the combined certificate, it is an individual certificate against each standard. So this is very good thing, that they can be integrated, but at the end of the day, you need to maintain the each standard requirement as individual. Then we have the PDCA. We all know about the PDCA. We also call Dimming cycle. The PDCA cycle is more than 50 years old now, but this cycle is very important and has very, very effective methodology. The methodology of this PDCA is that plan, do, check, act. Whenever you are going to start your activities or whenever you are going to perform an activity on the project, let's start with the planning. And if you see nowadays in the organizations, they have a department called planning department. So they are not the operations, they are not the warehouse, they are not the logistics, they are not the marketing, they are a planning department. So the purpose of planning department is basically to have a strong coordination between the departments, those who are going to be the part of this process or this project. So planning department is always focusing on the proactive approach. It is a Japanese proverb that our plans do not fail. In fact, we fail to plan. So our plans are not going to be failed. Our planning, if our planning is strong, it is not going to be failed. Unfortunately, most of us, we don't have the strong planning availability. And that's why we are unable to achieve our objectives or the projects on time. So planning, we need to spend more time on the planning. If we are going to spend more time on the planning, our do and our check will be very easy. But if we will go with incomplete planning or the lack of planning or the weak planning, so our do will be difficult and our check will be more difficult, because we will have all the time, we will find the weaknesses in the system when we are checking. So the ISO standards are also based on the PDCA cycle. If you see clause number 4, 5, 6, 7, they are in the P, planning part. Clause number 8 is in the do part, means operations. Clause number 9, the checking, yani to have the performance evaluation. You need to check the system. And then 10, the improvement. So the 10 is the last clause, improvement, which means that once you are going to adopt all the clauses, the outcome will be the improvement. So that's why clause number 10 is the improvement clause. Clear?
Clear.
So now let's go back to now specifically we are going to start the energy management system. So energy management system, we can divide the energy management system into two parts. One part is the management system part. The other part is the technical part. When we talk about the management system part, which includes the policies, objectives, the resources, the competence, training, communication, and internal audit, management review, corrective preventive actions. And the technical part is about the energy review, energy baseline, energy performance indicator, design and the purchasing considerations throughout the energy process, checking of the energy monitoring systems, and then the improvement. So this management system can be divided easily into two parts. The management part, which means that in your case, let's say Mr. Ahmad will be responsible for the management part, and your operations department mainly they will be responsible for the technical part in terms of energy management system. The purpose is it is going to help the organization who are seeking to establish, implement, and maintain and improve. So now the standard is very clear about this thing, that it is not a one-time job. It is not a one-time job that now you have the consultant team available. They are going to support you. You will have the certification. You will have the documentation availability. And then after achieving the Shahada, don't sleep. You need to work on it. You need to maintain. You need to improve. What will happen if you are going to purchase a very nice, very expensive car, but you are not going to change the oil on time? You are not going to change the filter on time. What will happen? Can you maintain this car for a long time? No. So similarly, our management systems are also like the same, that one-time job is not enough. Don't work to achieve the certificate only. This is going to be the part of your system. This is going to be the part of your everyday routine, that we need to adopt these policies and procedures as a part of our job description in order to maintain and continually improve our performance. Continually improve. As we know that the outcome of the management system is the improvement. So the standards are going to follow the systematic approach, which is going to bring the continual improvement in our energy performance. So this is the main purpose of our energy management system. Scope. When we talk about scope in ISO, the scope consists of two things. The first thing is the geographical boundaries where you are supposed to implement the energy management system. The second thing is the activities. What are the activities which are going to cover into the energy management system? So we need to work on both things. And this is one of the questions which we asked Mr. Ahmad yesterday, that what is the scope of the energy management system? So which means that where do you want to apply the energy management system, and what are the improvement opportunities you are going to get? So for example, since you are a services-based company, you cannot apply energy management system on each and every project. But what you need to do is to adopt the energy management system for your head office, let's say in Riyadh. And then once you have the documents available, once you have the procedures available, you will use the same centralized documents for the monitoring purpose and for the improvement purpose for any of the project which you are going to start. So once you are going to start, then you will be able to have the documentation availability from your head office, which is the centralized, and according to the operations or according to the facility services, you are going to apply the monitoring and measurement mechanism. So scope is the geographical boundary and the activities which we are going to cover into the energy management system. Clear? Now there are 10 clauses in the standard. There are 10 clauses in the standard. Clause number 1, 2, 3 are for our reference. Clause number 1 is like foreword. Clause number 2 is like vocabulary or the introduction of the standard. And then clause number 3 is the terms and definitions. So clause number 1, 2, 3 are not the requirement of a standard. Remember, I told you when you have 50,001, 1 means requirement. So 50,001 requirement, in this document, there are 10 clauses. or you can say 10 chapters. So out of these 10 clauses, 1, 2, 3 are for our reference. Whenever you purchase any book, so they have the reference. For example, foreword, the biography of the author, and I dedicate this book to whom, this and that, things like that. So these are all the introduction of the book, but it is not the part of book. So similarly here also, clause number 1, 2, 3 are the part of standard, but it is not the requirement. It is not the something which we are supposed to follow. So clause number 4 to 10, clause number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These 7 clauses are basically the standard requirement. These 7 clauses are the standard requirement. So from clause number 4 to clause number 10 are the requirements of a standard. When we say requirement, which means that we need to have the documentation availability for these requirements. When we say that these are requirements, which means that the auditor is going to evaluate these requirements. When you say requirement, which means that in your internal audit, you will be doing the audit of these requirements. So that's why these are the requirements. So in clause number 4, there are sub clauses. We call main clause and the sub clause. So clause number 4 has 4 sub clauses. Number 1 clause talks about the understanding the organization and its context. Organization context, which means that you need to have a clear introduction of the organization. Organization in its context means that you need to have a clear introduction of the organization, their activities, what is the background of the organization, what are the services of the organization, where is the location of organization, who are the stakeholders of the organization, what are the management of the organization. So context of organization means that you need to have a complete introduction about the organization, because these introduction or this information is going to be applied in the next clauses. So in clause 4.2, we are going to discuss about the needs and expectations. Needs and expectations. Now there are 2 different terminologies. Need means that whatever is important, whatever is a need, necessity, and the expectation is good to have. Expectation is optional but good to have. So the standard says in this clause that the organization shall identify the needs and expectations of their interested parties. What is interested party? We will discuss in the next clause. And not only the needs and expectations of interested parties, but also perform the actions. What are the actions of the organization in order to meet their needs and expectations? So this is about clause number 4. 4.3 talks about the scope. Again, the same thing, scope, as we discussed, that we need to have a clear statement about the scope, that what are our activities under the scope of this standard. And similarly, which site or which address is the scope of this standard. It has to be very clear. Why it is at the start? Now you can see that it is in the first clause. Yani clause number 4 is the first clause of the requirement. So it is at the startup. So before moving further, you should have a clear idea about the introduction of the organization, our interested parties, our stakeholders, vision, mission of organization, what is the purpose of the organization, who is the management of the organization. After that, they are asking that now define the area. Where are you going to implement ISO 50001 standard? So we need to define the scope. And then we need to define the energy management system processes. 4.4 talks about energy management system processes, that where we are going to link our processes with the energy management system, that in our process of operation, this is how we are going to follow the energy management system requirement. Our process of HR, how we are going to follow the requirements of energy management. Our process of quality systems or the quality assurance, how we are going to follow the requirements of energy management system. So this is going to be the process flow of the organization with regards to standard.
Mr. Anna, sorry for interrupting.
Yes, please.
Can we have break for 5 to 2 minutes for Asr prayer?
Just give me a second. I will check the time in Asr. If in Jeddah, I'm in Jeddah, so we will take the break together.
I think it's already Asr in Jeddah.
Jeddah is half an hour late from Riyadh. So Yeah, it's about to start in Jeddah. Okay, if we can take the 5 minutes break.
Yes, we prefer that because it's already half an hour from the
Yeah.
time of that.
We will be starting again at 3:20. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay, guys, 5 minutes break. I will also pray and you also. Yes, team available. Yes, guys, available. Shall we start?
Some of us are available, but we are waiting for the rest.
We also have the limited time actually. We need to finish by 4 o'clock.
Yeah, they are coming within 2 minutes.
So the time which you have spent on the break, I will be making this time as additional after 4 o'clock.
No worries. I think we can start now.
Okay.
Yes.
So we were talking about clause number 4. Clause number 4, it's about the context of organization, which consists of 4 subclauses. Number 1 is the understanding of your organization. Then the needs and expectations of the interested parties. Who are the interested parties? The all stakeholders are basically our interested parties, which starts with, there are 2 further division in the interested parties: internal interested parties and external interested parties. Who are the internal interested parties? Our employees, our management, our top management. They are all our parent company. They are all our internal interested parties. Similarly, we have external interested parties, for example, our customers, our suppliers, our banks, insurance bodies, our contractors, our legislators, for example, Difa al-Madani, Baladiya, Ministry of Energy. Then we have, VAT, the ministry. So Zakah and VAT, they are all our interested parties. So in this clause, the standard says 4.2 that sometimes the interested party needs and expectations become the requirement for the company. Requirement for the company. What does it mean? It means that sometimes, for example, if this interested party is the legal body. So if it is a legal body, it will become a requirement for us to follow, because wherever you are operating in the kingdom or in any other part of the world, you have to follow the law of the land. You need to follow the rules of the organization. So interested parties, we need to have the clear idea that who are our interested parties and what are their needs and expectations, because sometimes the needs and expectations of interested parties can become the requirement, and we have to follow the requirement. So who are the major interested party in your organization? Can anyone tell me? Who are your interested parties, internal or external interested parties? Yes, Mr. Ghazi, Mr. Abdul Salam, Mahmoud, Ahmad.
Yes, internal we are.
Employees, very good.
External, I think we got money. We got stakeholder from different fronts, and so.
And what else, Mr. Mahmoud, Abdul Salam? Yes, Ahmad. Mr. Fahad. Mr. Faris. Mr. Faiz. Mahfouz. Mashallah, you are all not available. If you are not responding to my question, what should I understand?
We are available. I'm available, but I'm on phone for 2 minutes. I'm available. I'm listening to you.
So my question is that who are our interested parties as an Al-Fanar group, as an Al-Fanar company?
Come again?
Who are our interested parties?
Maybe the employer?
Employee are one of the interested party, and
maybe decision maker?
top management is our interested parties.
Yes,
and
the top management.
In terms of external?
External. Actually, I have no clue.
Yes, Mahmoud.
Yeah, government, I think also from the external.
Very good. Government bodies are also our external interested parties. Yes, Mr. Faris. Okay. So as we discussed that our banks, those who are giving us loan, they are also our interested parties. Those who are giving us the insurance, they are also our interested parties. So our legislators, our neighbors, our suppliers, contractors, they are all our interested parties. So we need to identify the needs and expectations of our interested parties, and then we need to take the actions, that what are their needs and expectations and what are the actions of the organization to meet their needs and expectations. Then we have clause number 5, which talks about the leadership. In the leadership clause, the standard says clearly in 5.1 that the top management is responsible for the overall development and the implementation of the energy management system. So top management, it directly says no manager, no engineer, no subordinators, no supervisor, top management. So in other words, we can say that the top management can distribute their responsibilities, but the accountability is still lie with the top management. So they have the managers, they have the team available, they can distribute their responsibility. Definitely they cannot be expert for each and everything. So they can distribute their responsibility. But since top management has the decision-making power, top management has the resources, top management has the ultimate responsibility to effective implement and maintain of this energy management system. And in clause 5.2, it talks about the energy policy. Policy, when we say policy in ISO, policy is the set of commitment which comes from the top management, right? Set of commitment which comes from the top management. The energy policy should be available, should be documented, and it contains some commitments. For example, that we will be adopting those measures which are going to improve our energy performance. We will be following the legal requirements which are applicable to our scope of work. We need to continually improve when we adopt the energy management system. These are 3-4 commitments which are necessary. So we will be, inshallah, writing the energy policy for you or the integrated policy for you as well. And you will be working on, you need to have the commitments from top management. And the requirement for the policy that it has to be communicated and understood within the organization. So it has to be communicated. Communication is the responsibility of management. Understood is the responsibility of employees, staff, that they should understand this policy because it is a top management document. So it will be approved by the top management. I hope in your case, it will be approved by the president. Yesterday we discussed. And it will be, how it is going to be communicated, it will be communicated through hanging on the different walls for the prominent visibility. It will be available on the company website. It will be available for in our portal, let's say. So there are different means we can provide the awareness to our team about the energy policy. So it has to be communicated and understood within the organization. So this is the requirement for the energy management system. Then 5.3 clause says about the roles and responsibilities. Another important thing, which is the top management responsibility, is the assigning the roles and responsibilities. So the clause says that those people or those staff who are responsible for the energy management system, their roles and responsibilities shall be assigned clearly. They shall be aware of their roles and responsibilities. So assignment of the roles and responsibility shall be available, and the person who is responsible for something, he shall also be aware that what is his responsibility. So this can be done through the job descriptions. This can be done through a separate document which contains the responsibilities. And this can be done through some other memos where we are going to define that, okay, from today, this person is responsible for this thing. In energy, there is also a concept called SEEK committee. So the energy committee, or in other words, we can say the energy committee. The organization needs to form an energy committee who will be responsible for the overall initiatives and the modifications which are going to be taking place in the energy management system. So we will be requesting you later on to give us the name for the energy committee member and who is the leader or the chairman of the energy committee. And different people will have different role in this energy committee. So whenever there is a need for the improvement of any document or the modification of the facility or the modification of the design, so this energy committee is going to review this proposal, and then once they approve, it is going to be implemented. Clear? Then we have clause number 6. Clause number 6 about the planning. Clause number 4, context of organization. 5, leadership, and 6, planning. In the planning clause, it says that number 1, 6.1 is the actions to address the risk and opportunities, objectives and targets, energy review, 6.4 energy performance indicator, 6.5 energy baseline, and 6.6 planning for the collection of energy data. So these are 6 clauses which are available in the clause number 6. For example, if you see here that how the energy measurement is going to be taken place. For example, these are the different types of fuel which we are going to use in our system, and how these are going to be connected with different blocks of the building. So now, normally what we need to have, we used to have the 1 meter here at the end of the building, which is going to give us that, okay, how much natural gas is consumed. And then electricity 1 meter, which is going to give us the consumption of overall buildings. But in the energy management system, when you want to improve your energy performance, you need to work on different kind of energies, which means that you need to work on the different kind of fuels in order to improve the performance. So the performance cannot be improved unless we have the data available. So these all M's are basically the monitoring, the meters. These M's are meters. So we need to have the metering system on the inputs, and we need to have the metering system available on the outputs also. So in order to get the accuracy of the data, that what we are receiving and what we are consuming should be very clear. Otherwise, we will not be able to identify the baseline, that where are we standing. Most of the time, as I told you, the organizations are lacking in the energy management system because of the unavailability of data. So they don't know that where are we standing. So how can we improve ourselves in order to decide that, okay, how much our improvement opportunity. So this is a simple example with the block diagram about that. We need to have the inputs monitoring and we need to have the outputs monitoring about the energy management system. So if you see that the difficulties in gathering the data, which is the lack of monitoring, lack of meters. We don't have the meters available. Similarly, lack of relevant variables. We are unable to identify that which specific data is necessary for us. Sometimes in one machine or one process, there are multiple variables are going, multiple the types of fuel are going. It is being consumed. For example, the diesel is going. Similarly, the gas is going, the air is going, to apply different controls. So we are unable to identify clearly that what are the data which are going to have it. So that's why we are unable to calculate the data. And once we are not be able to calculate the data, we will not be able to improve our energy performance. So here you can see the planning inputs. Then we need to have the planning available. So outcome will be, we are going to have the actions for the risk and opportunities. We need to have the energy use and consumption record available. So this is the simple diagram for the process flow, that how we are going to give the existing inputs, for example, current energy type, past and current energy use, past and current energy consumption. So depending on this, we are going to do the energy review 6.3, which defines that how the data is collected, how the baseline is going to be defined, how the performance indicator is going to be identified, and how the targets are going to be achieved. So the outcome will be the achievement of our requirements. The outcome will be the achievement of, which means the improvement in our systems. So the monitoring, the information can be gathered through spot basis. For example, if you have the mobile or portable meters available to gather the information about the data of energy, for example, electricity, diesel, furnace oil, different kind of energy data. Temporary basis, for example, using the data loggers, or continuous, having the SCADA system availability, which is going to monitor for every hour, for every minute, that how much energy is going to be consumed with the passage of time. So it depends on time, energy, and sometimes it is also linked with the production, that how much production is going to be carried out during this time. So these are some of the information gathering tools which we can adopt. In our case, for example, Alpha Management, we don't have any continuous system availability of energy. So in our case, this spot basis is also going to be work, is temporary basis also going to be work. We can have the bills from our building owner, and we can see that where are we standing now. Similarly, we can see here the relationship between the energy review and the other clauses. We can see here the past energy and the past and present energy use and consumption, and the relevant variables and static factors affecting the SEUs. SEUs stand for significant energy uses. So they are going to give us the baseline, performance indicator, and planning of the data. Similarly, areas of energy use, facilities, equipment, and system, and opportunities for improvement. They are going to give us the objective, targets, and plan. Similarly, procurement and operation, and personnel working on behalf of the organization or within the organization. So they are going to give us the system availability for the identification of competence. So we are going to cover the equipment, machinery, processes, as well as we are going to cover the people in our energy management system also. You can see here, this is the different data which has been consumed over the period of time. For example, these are the months, and this is the consumption into megawatt hour electricity consumption in different time. So we need to have the baseline data available normally for 1 year, for minimum 3 years or 2 years at least. We need to have the data available in order to get a good baseline, the more accurate or the more better baseline we are going to have, the more realistic will be our target. So, and how can we have a good baseline? When we have the more data available. For example, you can adopt the baseline from even 1 quarter data also, but it will not be as good as it should be for 1 year as it will be for 2 years. So the more data availability, the much better adaptation of our baseline. Here you can see, for example, this is the per day production that we are going to have more production. This is going to be the less production. So here you can see the production quantity is reduced. So now in this case, definitely our baseline will not be the higher one. Our baseline is the average of our overall consumption. So it is going to be reduced. So we in the energy management system, we need to adopt these, we need to avoid these kind of peaks or these kind of reduction. So it has to be consistent in the per unit consumption of our energy should be consistent. That's why we are identifying the baseline. So if we have these kind of things, sometimes it happens. And when you are working in the company, you will have the idea that sometimes there are downtimes, sometimes there are some production losses, sometimes the system gets shut down, sometimes there is some maintenance requirement comes. So these are all the possibilities. These in the realistic data, these are going to be happen. So we need to apply the controls in order to avoid this kind of our gaps. Otherwise, our baseline will not be the strong. So the good baseline means better data treatment, identification of significant deviation, identification of opportunities for improvement, and verification of actions implementation. So ideally, the organization have the data energy consumption per energy type, energy use, and manufacturing line or the product line. So energy type, what kind of fuel you have adopted. Energy use, where are or which equipment or which process or which machinery the energy is going to be used, and the manufacturing line, that the overall process, how much energy is consumed. And in one process, as I told you before also, that you can have more than one fuel, more than one source of energy can be consumed in one process. Then we have the energy review and energy baseline. The energy review and baseline play an important role, a vital role in the identification of improvement. If we are going to collect the data in an accurate form, the requirements of the standards are going to be fulfilled, and the good monitoring is going to produce the improvement, the overall improvement in our system, which is going to be measurable. In the energy, you cannot say that we have improved a lot by our only speaking. Speaking is not enough. Our data should speak. Our data, our numbers should speak in the energy management system. It's not like I will do the self-claim that I'm very good. We are a very energy responsible organization. We have very energy efficient processes. No, it should be speak by our data. Our data will speak that how much we are going to be consumed according to our requirements. Yes, guys, any question?
No, thank you.
Okay. The identification of risk and opportunities. Clause 6.1 says that we need to identify the risk and opportunities. So risk is the uncertainty, and the opportunities are the positive. So every process has certain risk, and every processes or every activity can have certain opportunity. For example, in the pandemic, it became a negative for some companies, but it became positive for some companies also. For example, those project-based companies who have the business like you, or those contractor-based companies, when the contracts, it was stopped, the number of projects were stopped or reduced during the pandemic. So the companies of contracting companies, they have utilized their manpower in establishing the facility management. So we have seen that during the time of pandemic, many facility management companies have been introduced. I'm not sure, maybe that you are also of that time when there was a pandemic, because the projects were stopped or they were on hold, and the companies, they had a good manpower, skilled manpower available. So what to do then? They have established the facility management companies, and they have started giving the services to the high rises, because the construction was still going on, and those high rise buildings, hotels, offices, commercial plazas, which have been established already, they are starting giving the services. So we need to identify the risk and opportunities both in our system, that for our companies, what are the risk. For example, competition, market competition is one of the risks, and similarly, to have the development of new areas. For example, in Riyadh, we can see that every time there is a lot of the new development is going on. Then you have a big client, mashallah, now NEOM, which is going to give you more and more projects. So the risks are also there, and the opportunities are also there. We need to identify the risk and opportunity, and this can be done through the SWOT analysis also. SWOT analysis stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So this can be done easily through SWOT analysis. And this will be done by the top management. This will not be done by any supervisor or the engineer. This should be done by the top management, because they are the one who have a clear idea that what are their strong point, what are their weak point, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats which are applicable to them. Then the next clause talks about 6.2, talks about the objectives and targets. The objectives and targets. We cannot improve our system unless we don't define the objectives. So ahdaf is very necessary in every aspect of life. So unless we don't have the objectives available, we cannot improve ourselves. So in energy or in any management system, we need to define the objectives. We need to define the objectives. And these objectives shall be consistent with our policy. These are coming from our policy. That in the policy, we make the commitment that we will be applying the controls to improve our energy performance. So what are these controls? Let's take them as an objectives. Our objectives shall be measurable. We should be focusing on the applicable legal requirements. We need to consider our SEU, significant energy users. We need to have a clear account of opportunities for improvement. The objectives shall be monitored, communicated, updated. Before, it used to happen that the organizations, they develop the objective and then they sleep for the whole year. Then they wake up in December and they say, whatever we can do in this month. Otherwise, it is going to be carried forward. But now standard says, no, it's not only the objective and target, it is the objective and plans, because unless you don't have the plan available, you cannot achieve your objective. So it has to be very clear idea about that, what will be done, what are the resources required, who will be responsible, what is the target date, and how it is going to be evaluated. These are all necessary requirements for the objectives. Then we have the next clause where we are going to gather the data. As I told you that we need to identify that who are our significant energy users. And for these users, we are going to gather the data, whether we need to see whether we are consuming more towards the fuel in the form of diesel or furnace oil, or the electricity. or maybe there are two kind of data which is consuming more as compared to the overall the usage of the energy. For example, in your vehicle logistics, you are using the diesel or petrol. So we need to see the diesel consumption. And similarly, we need to see the electrical consumption of the office. So if in last 1 year, you are consuming the more, and we will be comparing them both, because we are going to convert them in a common unit, which is the kilocalories. So electricity will also be in kilocalories and your fuel will also be in the kilocalories. Then we are going to see that, okay, which is the more significant for us, which is the more important for us, because the more energy is going to be consumed by any kind of fuel, which means it is more important for us. We need to focus on that kind of fuel more as compared to other kind of fuel. Then in the clause number 7, we have the support, which talks about the human resource, competence and awareness, that those people who are working in the organization. In 7.1, it says that the organization, the top management shall provide the full resources in order to develop and maintain a good energy management system. In 7.2, it talks about the competence, that those people who are working in the organization and they are responsible for energy management system, they shall be competent enough in order to perform their activities. Otherwise, their activities will have the impact on the overall management system. Similarly, it talks about the awareness, that we need to spread the awareness about the energy management system in our organization. Communication, that who is responsible for what kind of communication. Yani we need to have a clear communication plan, that which kind of communication will be done by whom. Some communication, let's say with the legal bodies, it is done through the admin department. Some communication on the technical matters, let's say by the customer, it is going to be done through the operations department. Some communication with the customer is going to be done through the sales and the business development department. So different kinds of communications, we need to define that whether it is an internal communication or external communication. And then we need to define the responsibilities, that who is responsible for what kind of communication. Then a 7.5 clause says that you need to have a clear guideline for the document, that how our document is going to be developed, what are the elements of our procedure, what are the mandatory requirements which are going to be fulfilled in the documents, what are you going to write it down in the header or in the footer, how you are going to give the code to the document, how you are going to give the version or the revision to the document number, who is going to review the document, who is going to approve the document, how the document is going to be distributed, whether you are going to keep the document in the form of hard copy, whether you are going to keep the document in the form of soft copy, for how many years you need to maintain the data. So these all things about the documentation are going to be discussed in 7.5 clause. So even when we are working with as a consultant for the companies, this is the first document which we are going to establish, because the next procedure will all be following the same pattern. So this is our 7.5. I'm going a bit fast because we have less time. Then in clause number 8, it talks about the operations control. So those risks and opportunities which we have identified in clause number 6, we need to apply the controls on them. We need to apply the controls on them. Then 8.2 talks about the design. So whenever you are going to establish a new facility, whenever you are going to work on the facility, whenever you are going to modify an existing facility, whenever you are going to renovate the existing facility, or you are going to bring the equipment, you need to consider the energy management system in the design phase. Because if it is not going to be considered in the design phase, then it is very difficult to follow. For example, if your building or your office is already, it has a good system available for the sunlight, and which is the natural source of energy, and which is very good. So if you already have the wall available now, it is very difficult to break the wall now. So at the time of design phase, we need to take care of these things, that how our facility, how our infrastructure can be an energy friendly or energy efficient. So no need to consume a lot of energy. we need to have, if you see in many buildings, they don't have the roof direct available. They have the glass available. They have the fiber available, which allows the sunlight to come. So they have, sometimes the company, the offices, they have built big windows, and they keep the curtains without curtain. So the light is going to be coming, and it is going to save your electricity. So similarly, now we are going from the diesel and petrol, we are going for the hybrid cars. The next stage is to have the electrical battery charged cars. So we are, as a human, we are going to adopt the technologies which are more energy efficient. Now you see there is a concept of turbo engines with the cars. You will find out that, okay, now the new Pajero, let's say it is not the 6-cylinder, it's 4-cylinder, but its efficiency in terms of fuel, it's very good. Its engine is turbo engine, which means that once these two engines are going to be support the main engine, they are going to work like an inverter, which is going to save the energy, which is going to save the fuel consumption as well. So we need to, whether we are providing the services or whether we are a manufacturing facility, we need to adopt such actions which at the time of design phase, which can facilitate the energy improvement or energy efficiency. Only in the infrastructure is not enough. We need to adopt the procurement policy. We need to have a clear guideline available for our procurement department, that whenever they are going to procure any motor or equipment or machinery, they have to see the energy. Now, if you see, it has become a legal requirement in Saudi Arabia. Whenever you are going to purchase any electronic equipment, there is a energy chart is available, whether how much or is this energy, the energy is going to be consumed, whether it is in the green or it is in the yellow or it is in the red. So now it is your choice. Sometimes we see, for example, LG products, for example, Alphanar products, they are claimed that we have the energy efficient sensors available. We have the inverters available. So energy consumption is less. But on the other hand, you will find out, but definitely these products are going to be a bit expensive also. But on the other hand, you will find out that the products are cheaper, but they are consuming a lot of energy. So with the passage of time, what amount you are going to save, you will consume more than this amount which you are going to save at the time of purchasing. So as an environmental, as an energy responsible organization, we need to consider this factor in our procurement. And similarly, we need to consider this factor when we are going to have the evaluation of our suppliers, when we are doing the evaluation of our supplier, whether how much energy efficient equipments or machineries or the services they are going to provide us. Clear? Then there is a clause called clause number 9, which is the performance evaluation, which means the measuring and monitoring of the management system, checking of the energy management system. So by doing the measuring and monitoring, we are going to have the data availability. But this measuring and monitoring is useless unless we are not going to utilize it, unless we are not going to analyze it. So we need to have the monitoring and measurement availability. And after that, we need to analyze this. We need to have the analysis. We need to have the evaluation of this data. So what will be the outcome then? The outcome will be the improvement in our system. If we are not going to analyze, we don't know whether how much we have improved. So when we have the monitoring and measurement system available, it is going to give us the improvement in our system. Similarly, we need to have we need to check time to time which of the legal requirements are applicable to us. And we need to perform the internal audit. We need to perform the external audit. And we need to do the management review. Management review is the top management activity. It is the sort of meeting where you are going to sit and you are going to show the energy performance or the management system performance to the top management, that so they will be able to see that where are we standing, and they are going to make the decisions. They are going to provide the resources that, okay, to improve ourselves, we need these resources, we need this amount of manpower, we need this amount of resources to be available in order to improve ourselves. So this is the normally the companies, they have 6 monthly management review. Sometimes they have annually, sometimes they have quarterly, depending on the complexity of your process. You are going to decide that how many times in per year we are going to do the audits, internal audits, and how many times we are going to do the management review. Then we have clause number 10, which talks about the improvement. As I told you that the outcome of the overall energy management system is the improvement. And you will not be able to get the improvement unless you are going to identify the weak areas, unless you are not going to identify the non-conformities. Once you are going to identify the non-conformity, what is non-conformity? Non-conformity is the non-fulfillment of requirement. Non-fulfillment of a requirement is called non-conformity. Unless you are not going to identify the non-conformity, you cannot take the corrective actions. So corrective actions are actions which requires the root cause analysis, which is going to which does not allow us the recurrence of the same action to be repeated. So if it is happened first time, okay, it's okay, maafi mushkil. But we need to take the corrective actions to avoid the same problem next time. So non-conformity is the identification of problem, and corrective action is their solution, which is a long-term solution. And finally, 10.2, the last clause says the continual improvement. We need to have the information, the data available, which is going to give us the continual improvement. As I told you, that continual improvement in your system, you cannot see in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Maybe after 1 year, after 1.5 years, 2 years, you will see the improvement. So when you adopt, or any organization, they are going to adopt the energy management system, they would like to see that how much improvement is being made. When the auditor comes, he would be asking you the next year that what is the improvement in your system as compared to last year. And after 2 years, the auditor come, he will still be asking the same question, that how much improvement have been done in last 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So the outcome of the management system is basically improvement. And this improvement is not only girgir. This improvement must be documented. This improvement must be documented so it can be verified. It should come through your data rather than only with your words. Clear, guys? Any question? Yes, guys, any question? So we are going to end the session now. I would request those who are available, you can turn on the camera so we can take the picture as evidence.